Prime Minister, you told fellow leaders today that we can't treat today as a historic and let it drop tomorrow, this moment. Trump's ended the war, but you still have to secure the peace. What's the biggest hurdle in your mind?
Well, today is a really historic day, so we do need to start there, and real credit to President Trump and the other leaders who got us to this place. But you're absolutely right. The challenge now is tomorrow, an implementation, and therefore, yes, today is historic, but what happens tomorrow really matters. And that's why what I've been discussing with leaders all day is what part can we play? Yeah. And we, the United Kingdom in particular, I think, can play a part in monitoring the ceasefire, but also decommissioning the capability of Hamas and their weaponry, drawing on our experience in Northern Ireland. So the question today has already moved to how do we implement, how do we make sure this moves forward? And it's really important that we keep that focus. We mustn't have any missteps now.
OK. Prime Minister, senior Hamas official Dr. Bassem Naim said Blair's not welcome in any post-war role. He said Palestinians, Arabs and Muslims have bad memories of Tony Blair. Remember his role in causing millions of deaths, his words, in Iran, Afghanistan. You didn't put forward Tony Blair for the Peace Board. What's your view?
Well, I think the makeup of the Peace Board is still being discussed. From my part, I have to say, I'm much more interested in the practical steps.
I've heard you say that, but what's your view of Tony Blair sitting on the board?
Well, look, I mean, that's for others to decide. Tony Blair was a great leader of our country and would make a huge contribution. But I'm not focused on which particular people should sit on which particular board. I'm focused on what do we need to do tomorrow, and I mean tomorrow, to make sure this is implemented.
Would you put yourself forward or put someone else forward for the board?
Well, there's discussions going on about who should be on the board, but I can be clear with you, I haven't put myself forward for that role. But what I have put myself forward for, what I've put our country forward for, is to ensure that we keep doing what we're best at, which is working as we have done behind the scenes to help get this deal to where it is today, and drawing on our experience in relation to decommissioning, monitoring the ceasefire, which is essential next step.
We are out of time, but Trump has said that Hamas needs to disarm and disband, and yet one of their most senior leaders told Sky News in the last few days it won't, Hamas won't. What happens if they don't? Is that the critical thing to keeping this deal alive?
It is critical now that all parties follow through on the commitments. Decommissioning of weaponry of Hamas is hugely and critically important for the future peace. We have got experience in this in relation to Northern Ireland and decommissioning of the IRA's weaponry, and that's why I do think and I have suggested the UK would be well placed to carry out that vital role.
And are you going to nominate President Trump for the Peace Prize like the Pakistan Prime Minister just did?
Well, look, there'll be plenty of people, I'm sure, nominating him. I think the nominations are into the early part of next year. But I mean, what I do, in all seriousness, it is a historic day. And it is a real tribute to President Trump that he has got leaders to this position. This has been tried for many, many years, and stepping away from the personalities, this is a huge relief for hostages and their families, huge relief for civilians in Gaza, all of whom have been through unimaginable grief for 2 and a bit years now, and they are first and foremost in my mind, and that's what gives me the determination to follow through now and to take other leaders with us on this. That's the only thing I've been talking about today, not celebrating today as historic, which of course it is, but using the opportunity here with other leaders to say, how can we now, as a group of leaders, make sure that this is implemented in full, brings about the peace. We owe that to the Israelis and to the Palestinians, and I'm determined that the United Kingdom will play its full part.
I have to ask you quickly about the China case. Given the controversy, is it right that the CPS review the case, and do you still support Jonathan Powell? Is he exonerated in all of this?
Well, as I've said throughout, the relevant evidence was the evidence of what the Conservative government's policy was at the time of the alleged offences. That is what was relevant. That's always what has been relevant. I'm entirely satisfied that that was the evidence that put before the Crown Prosecution Service. As for Jonathan Powell, he's doing an excellent job. You heard what Steve Witkoff said about him today in relation to the role he's played behind the scenes. So, of course, I've got full confidence in him. And today, you know, shows the strength of the United Kingdom, working as we always do with the United States, playing our part in making sure that this important deal was arrived at today.